A young man named David is a congressman who is rapidly climbing the career ladder with his team. He is doing everything he can to outmaneuver his rival and get the job he wants. However, photos from his youth are suddenly published in a local newspaper, causing the candidate's reputation to plummet and ultimately leading to his defeat in the election. Despite his failure, the hero still has to address the voters, so he retreats to the bathroom to rehearse his speech. At one point, a girl comes out of the stall, which seemed empty. They strike up a conversation and sparks immediately fly between them. As they part, the stranger passionately kisses David, and at that moment, his friend Charlie appears. This chance encounter with the girl inspires the congressman, and instead of giving his rehearsed speech, he decides to speak off the cuff. The audience receives his speech very warmly. After a while, David is about to go to the office. At the same time, two men in hats discuss that, at the appointed moment, the hero must spill coffee on himself. But Harry, who is assigned this task, is late, and David calmly gets on the bus. There he meets the same girl again. Delighted by this chance encounter, they exchange smiles. The stranger introduces herself as Eliza and leaves him her phone number. Returning to the office, David does not immediately notice that all the employees seem to be frozen in place. Opening Charlie's office, he sees some strangers examining his friend with strange devices. The frightened hero runs away, but they soon catch up with him and knock him out. When he wakes, the congressman hears a strange conversation. It turns out that the kidnappers are going to erase his memory, but without permission from the Supreme, they cannot do so. Their leader, named Richardson, reveals a frightening truth to David. It turns out that no accidents in the world are accidental, and people's lives are subject to a predetermined plan known only to the Supreme. Now that David knows this secret, he has no right to reveal it to anyone. Otherwise, Richardson's organization will erase his memory, turning him into a helpless person incapable of stringing two words together. But that's not all. The congressman is strictly forbidden from being near Eliza. The agents burn her phone number right in front of him, and David himself is dropped off at his office where Charlie finds him. The hero is completely confused, but the only thing that really occupies his thoughts is the very girl he is forbidden to be with. 3 years pass. David leads a measured life and doesn't ask unnecessary questions. Nevertheless, he continues to take the same bus to work where he once met Eliza. And one day, fate brings them together again. The hero notices the girl on the street and can't walk past her. He immediately cancels all his meetings and invites her to a cafe. But the Bureau agents immediately notice this deviation from the plan and begin to pursue him. They do everything possible to separate the lovers again. In the end, they succeed. Charlie reminds David of an important interview that is necessary for his career. The hero agrees to meet with Elisa after the event since she has a rehearsal nearby, but the Bureau cannot allow another meeting and moves the location of her classes. David still notices the agents in the window and realizes that they are the ones putting obstacles in his way to the girl. He cancels the interview and rushes to Eliza, but cannot find her. Then he resorts to trickery and learns the real address of her dance school from one of the people in the cafe. Once again, Richardson tells him that he is forbidden to be near the dancer. But David realizes that even this mysterious man in a hat does not know the real reasons. The boss does not share his plans with his subordinates. The hero rushes to his beloved, but the agents interfere with him again. First, he cannot catch a taxi. Then his car gets into an accident. The Bureau members do everything they can to prevent him from seeing Eliza dance. If that happens, there will be a surge of energy and it will be extremely difficult to separate the lovers in the future. Despite all the obstacles, David outsmarts them, but he could not have imagined that now their case would be taken up by higher-ranking officials. Richardson's colleagues learned that in earlier versions of the plan, Eliza and David were supposed to be together, and it was only in 2005 that the plan was rewritten. The girl was supposed to spend her life with choreographer Adrian. To finally resolve the issue, the Bureau calls in Senior Curator Thompson. Meanwhile, David and Eliza go dancing, and after a wonderful evening, they spend the night together. While they are asleep, Thompson breaks into their house and watches them. In the morning, Eliza's ex calls her several times, which seems strange since Adrian has not been in touch for 3 months. David suggests that his beloved accompany him to his interview so that they don't have to be apart for a minute. But while he is talking to the host of the show, a stranger comes to Eliza, introducing himself on behalf of David. He tells the girl that the congressman will call in the evening, but now he has to leave urgently. At this time, the agents trick David into going to Thompson, who reveals even darker truth to the hero. For centuries, the Bureau has been watching over humanity. In those days, when people were given freedom of choice, there were wars, epidemics, crises, and poverty. So, decades ago, the Bureau took control of people's lives again to guide humanity toward discoveries and prevent self-destruction. If David stays with Eliza, he will not be able to become president. But the man doesn't care. He goes to her performance anyway. Thompson doesn't give up and declares that their love will destroy her future. With David, the girl will only be able to work as a children's dance teacher instead of pursuing a career as a brilliant ballerina. At that moment, the hero sees Eliza fall on stage and realizes that fate is indeed cruel to both of them. In the hospital, David says goodbye to his beloved and leaves, deciding not to ruin her life, even at the cost of his own suffering. He remains with his hopes dashed. 11 months pass. His political career is on the rise, but one day Charlie brings him a newspaper with the news that Eliza is getting married soon. David is devastated by this news because his feelings for her have not faded. Soon Harry gets in touch with him and tells him about his father. He sympathizes with David and decides to break the Bureau's code to help him. To prevent Thompson from tracking the hero's movements, Harry gives him his hat and teaches him how to use portal doors. The risk is enormous. If he is caught, his memory will be erased. At this time, Eliza goes to the bathroom to try to collect her thoughts before the wedding. Deep down, she knows she doesn't love her fiancé because her heart has long belonged to David. David manages to reach her a few minutes before the ceremony. He apologizes and confesses his love. But the agents find them. Then David grabs his beloved and leads her through the door, opening up a world to her that she never knew existed. Now they have to hide constantly, and no one knows if they will be able to keep their memories. Despite the danger, the lovers decide to stay together until the end. Another door leads them to the Statue of Liberty, where there is no exit or entrance. Eliza is confused. She doesn't understand why they are being hunted. David realizes that they cannot run forever. He remembers Harry's words, "If you turn the doorknob to the left, you can get to a special place." He hopes to meet with the Supreme Being and ask him to change the plan so that he can be with Eliza. Eliza agrees to take the risk with him. So they find themselves in a huge hall resembling a library. Their presence is immediately detected, and opening door after door, they climb higher and higher up the stairs until they reach a roof with no exit. Here they are found by Thompson and his guards. Realizing that their memories are about to be erased, the heroes kiss as if for the last time. But suddenly, the Bureau's security disappears. Harry appears and conveys the Supreme's order. David and Eliza can now be together. The man retains his memory, and the lovers gain the right to their own destiny. David begins to suspect that the Supreme is Harry, but he denies it. It turns out that our boss can appear to people in different guises, and usually no one notices him. The hero thanks Harry for his help, after which he takes his hat and disappears. And that's where the story ends. Subscribe to the channel and like the video.